not look like this.
Social services to tech. I was gonna ask that as well, because I'm only registered for this. So I need to be also registered, like. Fun.
Right.
Not that I'm not excited.
Right.
Okay, 10:30. I'm gonna try to keep us on time, but also I'm like the courtesy of the straggler. So we're gonna just wait a couple of seconds and then we'll really get started. Here we go. Welcome to our intimate group. We're gonna make everyone else jealous. We're gonna get really loud and rapid. Like, there's 20 people.
Hi.
So I know it's a small room, but I'm using the mic for the benefit of our online friends and family. Lenore, how many people do we have online? I feel like it's televised.
I know, right? You know, it looks about like 15 people online and they can see you. I've got the, yep, I got two things going on. So I'm talking to them in the chat and I think we should be good. We'll make it work. And if they can't hear us, we'll figure it out.
All right, well, today we're gonna talk about public contracting. And I know that sometimes when we hear about the term public contracting, it's not the sexiest term, but we're gonna make it fun today. So before we get started, let me get my agenda, sorry. We're gonna do some introduction. First, I want to introduce the three facilitators that you have in the room. I am Nina Jones. I am the Business Diversity and Inclusion Manager for Washtenaw. That means I manage the disadvantaged business, plus all the other outfit programs. My team and I set the compliance goals, and then after we set the goals, we go out and enforce the goals. So that's the fun part about what we do. But what we would like to do is I'm going to introduce Lenora, and she will pass it on to Mark, and then lead us through our introductions.
Okay, sounds good. So hi, everybody. My name is Lenora Siva. I work for OFM and I have been with the state for 12 years. And in my current role, my team, we do strategic planning and organization change management. So that fancy word that you've been hearing more of. We also do continuous improvement, employee engagement, and then also I'm the equity officer and also help run our DEI council for OFM. So really good to be here. I will be kind of focused on our wonderful people online today. Good to see everybody. Mark, you're next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Metzger. I'm the administrative specialist providing executive support to Michaela Dolman, OFM State HR. It's my first appointment to state government and feel like I couldn't have landed in a better place. No offense to all the other alphabet. So I'm happy to be here. If you need anything, let me know.
So those are your three facilitators for today. So we're going to pass the mic around, and if you could just tell us who you are, who you work for, and what you do. And like, as Mark said, it is an alphabet, and I don't know everyone's alphabet. So instead of saying like OHI, like what that actually is. Okay. And second, so everyone gets a turn.
Definitely.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I am Cara Griffith with Tandem Motion. We are a workforce strategy consulting firm. So when you were talking about change management and continuous improvement and strategic planning, those are all the places that we get to plan. Our hope is to continue to work within state government, and as a Washingtonian, very, very passionate, great state of Washington, to align the right people to perform the right work at the right time. We really do believe that folks have incredible capability, and we want to help, I think, leverage the strengths and the interests of people to make sure that they truly are aligned to the right work so that we can make the greatest impact possible. We are certified WBE, yay, and DBE here in Washington State. And so one of my objectives today, if it aligns with our facilitators, is to articulate some of the procurement barriers that we have been running into to try to get some feedback about not only how to work within the system, but also to help, I think, influence make some positive change in things. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jessica Brown. I work at the Department of Commerce. I'm a grant manager and we work with, we do a lot of different contracting, but the vast majority of our work is around community service block granting, grants through community action agencies. So we have about 30 agencies here in Washington State that we contract with. And then we have several more contracts that we are starting to administer this year. I'll let my boss talk about that in a little bit. But wonderful to be here.
Good morning. My name is Monica Vassal. I am the Director of Contracts, Legal and Background Checks at the Department of Social and Health Services. And I've been with that agency for almost 17 years, minus a few in a different alphabet agency. I'm really pleased to be here as well.
Hi, my name is Natalie Eckert. I work for the Office of Financial Management. I'm a senior contract specialist, but also part of my role is to lead the effort for the agency to increase our supplier diversity.
Hi, I'm Emily Fitzgerald. I'm at the Department of Financial Institutions, and where I'm the Chief Financial Officer. And so I am tracking our diversity spend numbers as well as our performance management metrics. And since we're a smaller agency, our contracting opportunities are pretty limited. So one of my goals is to kind of find where those spaces are, where we can be more involved and get the numbers and get the contracts with people who we want to.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Day, and I'm with the Liquor and Cannabis Board. I'm the Policy and Performance Manager, so responsible for strategic planning and metrics and something else.
Something important.
Yeah. Happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm Bonnie Lindstrom. I am the Deputy Assistant Director with the Legal and Legislative Affairs Office at the Office of Financial Management. And I've been doing contracts for the state for almost 20 years.
Hi, I'm Katie Beckel. I'm the state's Chief Privacy Officer. I work at WATEC, so we don't have a fancy acronym. We just call ourselves WATEC. And I had a background in contracting, and I was contract counsel of social and health services. So I've been with the state for 16 years.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Walker, and I'm with the Department of Commerce. I'm a senior research program analyst, and I handle contracts day in, day out.
Hi, I'm Lee Kozina, and my company is Zena Consultants, and we help leaders reach diversity and inclusion goals. I'm also a WBE, and I'm on VDAG, and which is a fabulous committee. I'm really excited. It's my third year. So I'm just here to kind of learn about what the needs are, and I'm an awardee of the Training Solutions grants. So I contract. So you know, I'm going to be training on just faith, multi-faith communities, people with DEI work, people who don't understand. And thank you.
Hi, greetings. My name is Shana Bearhan. I lead the Procurement Inclusion and Equity Program in DES, and lead and explain, but the Business Diversity Advisory Group is a group of 22 esteemed small and minority businesses that guide our efforts to procure more goods and services with minority and women businesses. I don't know if that's what you I don't know what
Good morning. My name is Sarah Bergman. I work with OMWBE, the War Alphabet Soup, the Office of Minority and Women Business Enterprises. So I work with the certification teams and the supplier diversity teams, so certifying businesses, you know, working with the agencies to improve their practices around the system.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. My name is Sharon Montessori, and Dr. J recognized the group that I am from, which stands for Washington, actually down Hawaii, and we were instrumental and finally getting the further evacuated for
don't kind of way because of this organization of what it stood for, what the business stood for. Recognizing this program very part of the work, a lot of hard work. So I think this summit is a part of our hard work. And so thank you so much for that.
Hello, I'm Cornelius Weinsberry. I was Sharon. For 48 years. We're both veterans. We met at Fort Lewis. And as she said, we are part of a group called Winter Washington Equity Now Alliance. 2 years ago, it was recognized that there were about $3.5 billion in lost earnings to the BIPOC community. And once it was discovered, just on a technicality, that Governor Gary Locke misinterpreted I-200 and went on, it was imperative that something was done about that to right the wrong. And after about 2.5, 3 years, well, after 25 years of lost wages and earnings and contracts and education and employment, WINA was formed. And out of that resulted some of what you're seeing here today, the awakening, an effort to not only correct and right along, but to restore those who get disenfranchised and impacted by the losses. The means to get back on that. So, you all are here. I'm interested here in being, I'm an entrepreneur interested in the contracting that's available. That's why I'm here.
My name is Rachel Hicks, and I'm here with my father, Roger Hicks. We're from TJR Steel Construction, and we are here to learn more about the public contracting, and we just started our business this year, so we're, yep. He's been in the industry for steel work for over 30 years, and so we're branching out on our own again. And
I may not done a pretty good job, she right here.
Yeah.
That's a good time. Like she said, I've been a union working for 35 years. I came to the state in '89. Come from the oil field, working in the Gulf of Mexico. So we moved here, got in the union iron workers, been fighting up the ladder. I became the first Black apprentice coordinator of the union of Local 86 Iron. Anything that we want in that organization, I have came through the door and changed it up. Mentor young men and women, and got one of them now as a partner in my business that I mentored when he was an apprentice 22 years ago. Now he's part of the business. And so we are currently at the convention center. We're the only Black supervisors left. There's 2 of us at the convention center. And 3.4 billion or whatever it is at now. You can count how many minorities are there, women and men, period. What I try to tell people is, and I was telling Sarah, I try to help to make it better when I leave. And if it takes me to look bad, it's okay. It's okay. So I'm here to help and learn about the contractors, and if I can help, and anybody with the unions or whatever, I try to put my hand up with you. Okay? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Amy Starkin. I'm with the State Department of Transportation. I'm the Deputy Secretary there, so do a little bit of everything. I'm here today to learn more about what we can do at WashDOT to increase our access to our contracting. We're a pretty large agency, about 7,000 employees, about a $10 billion biennial budget. And a lot of that goes out to public contracting to build our roads, our bridges, our ferries. And so we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of years. Big shout out to Nina's office and everything Jackie and all have done, and the iron workers and the work that we're doing on the PASS program, the Compass program, our apprenticeship work. Too many things to name. He is the expert on them. So I'm just here to learn more about what else we can do.
Hi, my name is Tracy Moreno. I am president of the National Black VA Association Seattle chapter. I'm also entrepreneur myself. I spent 25 years in corporate America, and now I'm an diversity, equity, and inclusion trainer and consultant. I'm a mindset coach and literally support the process. So a lot of the things that many of us have said are important are things that the National Black NBA was founded on 52 years ago. So we have a way of actually driving change, whether it's through youth programs, entrepreneurship, economic and intellectual empowerment is what we're all about. So I look forward to connecting with this group and leading some community opportunities and initiatives to help support the work that these groups are trying to perform. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leica Fernandez. As of about 2 months ago, I'm the director of the Office of Minority and Women Business Enterprises. And thank you. And Sarah talked about certification and supplier diversity. A big part of what I want to do is include community voice, work with people like Shana and Amy and Monica on how we can make things better and how we can see barriers that y'all have seen. So thanks for being here today and sharing your voice.
Good morning. I'm saying good morning. My name is Laveda Kent Napier, and I am a small business entrepreneur, provider, service oriented. And I've been in the state of Washington since 2005, on and on. I was, I just wished that everything that's in my brain could be seen so that people can understand what it is that I'm getting ready to say. I lived in Alaska. And thank you, by what is virtual people for being there. I don't want to ignore the virtual people because I know how they feel about this weather. So I would migrate to a warmer climate, and I would try to stay subdued and not do anything, just eat and sleep. And seeing all the needs and opportunities in the Washington State area for construction and food service, I combined those two things and I came to this state hoping that I can cross the barriers to get to do business and make other people employable. And I just want to thank you guys for having this summit, because I had never heard about this summit until I met WENA, and they say you should be here. Because any predicament that our community is in, the Washington whole state is like a community to me. In Alaska, one part, Anchorage, Fairbanks are 2 worlds apart.
Definitely.
You can lose your life trying to get to Anchorage or trying to get to Fairbanks. The same thing is happening here, but it's happening in the sense of the housing crisis. And people that have the ability and the skill and the knowledge to be able to do and build the housing. With my company, we could build 100 houses a year, but we still wouldn't have enough housing. So the things that, the barriers that's coming in place for contractors to do their part without looking at the gender, the color, if I'm married to a teapot or whatever it is, just don't use those things to make a determination on who has the ability to do what the capacity building it needs to take place. And that's the reason I'm here. But I just thank you for allowing me to have this microphone, because in church it is very dangerous. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Dunn, and I work at the Department of Commerce. We've kind of overtaken the table space. Or I call us the acronym is MICKEY MLUS. Commerce is about 550 individuals strong. We all work remotely. Nobody goes to an office anymore. It's 100% all remote, and that creates a lot of equity in how we live our lives. The contracts and the work that myself and my colleagues do is we manage and administer state and federal funds that tended to help low-income individuals, families, communities, individuals with disabilities, vulnerable populations to get assistance as needed. Even undocumented people are eligible for some of the work we do. But, right, a couple of new things we've taken on recently, they like to give us provisos, is the Working Family Tax Credit Outreach Program. This is a brand new state tax credit, which is perplexing. We have no state income tax. Are we doing that? Anyway, that's a whole different discussion than you are for another day. But we were given funds to administer community outreach. And that just tells my lesson how amazing it was that Department of Revenue was going to get the funds. And no offense to them, they had no clue about barriers. They just said, well, we'll post it on the internet. You can go get it. Oh, if you don't have a computer, what if you don't speak English? What if you're disabled? What, I mean, there's 1,000 things. Way. So it's not just in how we deliver our contracting processes and being inclusive of DEI and other respective areas, but how then those follow the money, because then money impact the people, making sure that the people receiving the benefits are being treated equitably and that they're able to get services and such as needed. So I've been with the agency 31 years, started out in weatherization, started lots of construction approvals with for work on low income families at homes. And I'm gonna retire in 6 months.
Rub it in.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hansen. I also work for the Department of Commerce, with Karen and Jess directly. I've been there for about 2 years, state employee for 6 years now. And I'm a program specialist providing support to help execute all of the programs which Karen just detailed.
I think we have a couple more people who may have came in.
Hi, I'm Joel Shepherd Sampson with Kids at Black State Union. I am actually in the wrong class.
I wanted to say hi, how are you?
Well, he's staying. He can give me notes.
Thank you.
Thomas is gonna bug out about this one though. Drayton Jackson for the Foundation for Homeless and Poverty Management. Also sit as the co-chair for the Governor JNC Poverty Reduction Work Group and an elected school board member, which is the hardest job in the world right now. But happy to be here. And then as my commerce people know, I constantly push them to the limits of giving me money, my foundation to give us money. But I will say this, that what was said today, I think is true. What my foundation did, and we took it on, was we stopped asking why aren't they doing it? And then we did it. So our thing is that we have one project that's $57 million for affordable housing in Bremerton and Kitsap County. And then we have another project, which is a community day center for the homeless, which is $12 million. So those are the things that we said, you know what, let's stop asking, but we just got to take the work on and do it ourselves. So hopefully the comments will be good. And they don't get it done, but that's what I'm hoping to come out of this conversation.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Dimitra, here on behalf of my coalition. We call ourselves a Coalition of Professionals of Color. About 7-8 years ago, I noticed there's a lot of beloved architectural, engineering, landscape architectural firms of color that were shutting down. And these are huge firms. So as a planner, I look at trends, and that kind of worried me. And I realized that, like you, we have to do something about it. So we've now created an informal coalition of minority professionals of color. And for the past 7 years, we've been advocating with state, local, county governments to take a look at their contracting practices. And it's nice to see some new policies in place thanks to our actions, but we're still waiting for actions to follow the policy. So we're still holding out hope that, you know, things will continue to improve and we won't slide backwards.
Thank you. But I need to sit there for a second so I can talk to the people. So we want to make sure that we also include our people online. Let's just try. We're going to try.
Open the tabs.
Right? Yeah, you can. Oops. Did I miss you guys? Where my screen drive? So maybe I'm wondering if maybe if you could try to come off mute. And maybe I'll just, I'll look at the participant list and just call your name. And let's just try with Daniel. Daniel, can you come off mute and say hello?
Hello.
We can hear you, Daniel. Yeah, can you just go ahead and say your name and just a little bit about yourself? You got 30 seconds, go. See if this works. Daniel? Hello? No?
Are you asking for encore, Daniel?
Yeah, encore, Daniel. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I am a technician here in Dallas, Texas right now, and we are just working in the background to make sure everything goes well.
Yeah, you are important and you matter. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Alice.
Good morning. I'm Alice Benge. I'm the Director of Contracts and Procurement with the Department of Health, and glad to be joining this group today.
Thanks, Alice. How about Bella?
Hi there, this is Thea with the Washington Department of Health. I am a child health services consultant. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And then I see Carl. Carl, did you want to go?
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm here, I see part of my team there representing the business diversity advisory group, and then also I'm a managing member with Resilient Learning Solutions. We specialize in DE&I in the workplace and civility and workplace violence prevention. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. I'm not, last name is Hansen.
Hi, my name is Sian Hansen. I actually work for DSHS and DDA. I thought this was going to be kind of an interesting attendance here. My husband is a Native American general contractor, and we're working on developing some affordable housing to work within the tribes.
Thank you. I see Sinman Consulting.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Echols. I'm the sole proprietor of Sinman Consulting. I've been in business for 10 years. I work with small businesses to grow their business, whether it be by winning contract awards or continuous process improvement.
Thank you. I see Diana.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Diana Donaldson, she, her pronouns, and I'm with the Department of Commerce. I started there about 6 months ago in the housing finance unit. So we provide the finance for affordable housing throughout the state. And I'm with the data unit. So I'm just new to this, and I'm really excited to see what kind of metrics and measures you all are using. So going forward, maybe I can be more helpful for our team. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I see Eller.
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone. I am currently in Tukwila, Washington. I'm a deputy director for a consulting firm based here. We do community and equitable planning for organizations. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Eugene.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Eugene Marmuzuk. I am an executive analyst and also a business development and operations coordinator for Talitha Consults, and we're actually from the same firm with Eller Wynn. Our firm is a team of interdisciplinary and multilingual professionals, and we do a lot of organizational and community equity-focused planning.
Thank you, Eugene. I see Faduma.
Hi, good morning. My name is Faduma Fido, and I'm here representing People's Economy Lab. We're a group of consultants with shared goals, and we work together to advance the just transition to a restorative economy in Washington State by supporting the development of BIPOC and low-income communities of color. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Joel?
Hi, I'm Joel Hansen. I'm a senior account executive with Amoresco. We are a general contractor that works through the state DES energy program with state agencies and public entities of all sizes. And I'm here representing Amoresco because we don't do any of the trade labor on the projects that we manage. So we hire a lot of subcontractors, and we're looking to get to know more subcontractors that are women, minority owned, veteran owned businesses. And we're looking to discover more of those relationships.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. I see Kelly.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Van Blaricom, and I work for the Office of Minority and Women's Business Enterprises as a communications consultant. I'm very happy to be here today.
Thanks, Kelly. Lee Ann. I think you're on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leanne Burke. I am the tribal liaison for the Puget Sound Partnership. And I have a long background in Native contracting. At one point, I was the deputy director for the Native Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and always happy to be continuing this work in some capacity. So, thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Hello, my name is Michael Hall. I work as a construction manager for Sound Transit on the Federal Way Link. However, I also have I guess, side hustle, if you will, and as part of Kemet Consulting, which does equity research. So I'm here kind of in a dual capacity, if you will.
Thank you, Michael. I see Ro.
Yes, good morning. I'm sorry about the noise here. I'm the business director of the Inkling Consulting, and we do actually consulting and everything that has to do with speaker coaching, presentation designs, and but also work as a facilitator for a D&I consulting firm called Neural Shift, and very interested in what's happening in the States. It's the first time that I'm seeing so much happening in this direction, that as a small business minority and woman-owned business, it feels like I didn't know this is actually possible and that this is actually happening. So I'm really thrilled on seeing what comes out of this.
Thank you, Ro. How about Robin?
Hi, everyone. My name is Robin Strom. I am a diversity manager for Anderson Construction. My roles and responsibilities is managing subcontractor and supplier diversity for our Seattle office. I also sit on a board for OMBI, the Association of Women and Minority Businesses. It's a group that provides support, advocacy, basically anything for a small woman or minority-owned business. But thanks for letting me be here.
Thank you, Robin. Ryan?
Hi, I'm Brian Locke with DOH. I'm a contracts and finance specialist.
Thank you, Brian. How about Ryan Argrella? No. Okay, how about Rylander, or is it Danny Rylander? Did you already go?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Danny Rylander. I work at the Washington State Department of Commerce, and I am a program manager for some programs that deal with behavioral health housing, or actually long-term subsidies for folks with different types of disabilities. And I am just really interested in really delving into the topic of equitable contracting processes. Hi, Jeremy. I see you next to Lenora. I was supposed to be in person today, and I'm so bummed I couldn't be there with you all because of road conditions where I live, but grateful for this opportunity.
Thanks, Danny. How about Sarah?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Peterson. I use she, her pronouns, and I am at the Department of Social and Health Services, and I serve as the chief for the Office of Refugee and Immigrant Assistance. And we invest over $30 million every year in small community-based organizations, small and medium and large size community-based organizations that provide direct client services to our refugee and immigrant communities. And so it's great to be here and hear so much. And I appreciate the effort to do both a in-person and virtual meeting that is not always easy to do. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Susan?
Hi, everyone. Oh, sorry. My name is Susan. I'm with King County, part of the Finance, Business, and Contract Compliance Department. My role is Pro Equity Outreach and Training Coordinator. So, you know, I'm just here to learn, and it's a fairly new role. I just want to see what I can do to assist with outreach materials training for SCS and MWBE firms.
Thank you, Susan. All right, I see Vicky.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vicky Scantarelli, and I have my pronouns listed on the screen in 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Quechua. I want to point out that in Quechua, there are no pronouns. We are all beings, which is pi. So I wanted to share that because not everybody uses pronouns. I am here representing the Northwest Minority Builders Alliance. It is a business trade association for minority and women and veteran-owned businesses that basically operate in the construction system. We're the largest MBE construction system organization in Washington State. I am also here as a consultant. I have 42 years in diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And I've retired twice. I'm a failure at retirement from both the state and the city of Seattle, and am currently providing consulting services in the construction and professional services arena.
Awesome. Thank you, Vicky. All right, I think I've gone through the list, but I want to make sure I didn't forget anybody. So if I didn't call your name, would you come off mute and say hello?
Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Kazak, and I'm a small business program manager with Department of Commerce, and I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Told you we were overtaking.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I don't know about you all, but in this virtual world, I'm not used to just sitting on, like super out of practice. So we're getting ready to shake it up a little bit. As you can see, there are 4 posters on the board. I need you to break up into 4 teams. Just kind of go to what's closest to you. That will make it easier. And let me just start off kind of with this. I am not going to code switch today. I'm going to just be my authentic self. I invite you to be your authentic self, which means that there's going to be some slang in there. There's going to be some culture in there. Like, it's going to be free to be me. Hope you all will be free to be you. So I just want to preface that, like, she knows that yes, I know I'm bringing my authenticity to the table. So 4 posters. Here's what your task is. You are going on a trip. I'm not telling you where you're going, and I'm not telling you how long you're going for, but you're going on a trip. So go to the poster and write down everything you need to pack or do to go on your trip. That's all you get. Ready, set, go. You got 5 minutes. By each one, every idea is a good idea. Anyone idea?
Daniel?
Yeah. No, they're not. Yeah, out here.
Such a good.
Laura,
are you with?
OFM.
Yeah. No. Trying to find it. It's the second session, so. It's a continuation.
Okay, so
My favorite orange.
all right, so how about in the chat, you just put what would you want to take on your trip? Let's just use the chat for that. I don't see a way to start a breakout for us. What would you take on your trip? All right. Yes, take your translation app. All right, these are really good things in the chat.
Like, Kleenex or tissue, you know, yeah.
Your last 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
Definitely not me, you know that. Lenore, you'll point out.
Yeah, I got some list. I got a list.
So what I'm going to do, because our online folks went last time, we're gonna go first this time. All right, online people.
Okay, so we've got passport, ID, phone charger, money, clothes, emergency phone numbers, shoes, maps, enthusiasm, excitement,
Enthusiasm.
clothing, electronics, chargers, translation app or dictionary, socks and cash, snacks, family members, credit cards, medicine, passport. Yeah, there we go.
Right, good, good. Does anyone have something on their list that they didn't hear someone say? Water. Water, good one.
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen, yep.
Protection of some sort.
Oh, what you saying?
No.
It's okay. Yes. Vehicle, okay, yeah, where you going? You might transportation, that's important. Someone, a baby. Yeah, someone's like, I'm not picking my kids. No, people are taking their bath. People are like, no, we leaving them. Patience, patience, yes. Especially if you're traveling with family, let me tell you. Glasses, okay.
Got a Wi-Fi.
A Wi-Fi, okay.
Thinking.
I see a flashlight over here. A long arm individual, yeah. I know. People. It's like this a chill attitude. Some said patience, chill attitude. Okay, so I'm gonna give you all your location, your destinations. Everyone's going for 3 days. And I'm gonna give you your destinations, and you're now what you're going to do is decide what on this list needs to change or is it still acceptable. This team over here, you're going to Mexico. Okay, you're going camping in the Pacific Northwest. Colorado. Yeah. That's what. Fortunately, you need to. It's now.
Put on the link in the chat. They got a couple things in there.
Okay.
Yep.
What? Yeah. So, cows and wood. So you guys are almost ready. Not very. And it'll easier if I don't have to kind of shout over everyone. Thank y'all. Okay, so they added quite a few things, but most of the things on the list stayed exactly where they were. How about you? What'd you add or take away? Okay. Wait, I'm sorry. Where are you going?
We're going to Colorado.
You're a ski trip to Colorado. Okay. Ski gear. Okay.
Instructors.
Hey. Yes, be safe.
First day.
The only thing we got rid of was.
Converter. Okay. Oh my gosh, I totally made that mistake in Jamaica. Learned that lesson the hard way. All right. How about over here? What did you add? Take away. Beads. Yeah. Studies. Someone? An emergency kit. Okay, how about online?
Okay, online.
They went to downtown Seattle.
Yeah. So now we've got tickets for the M's game or the Hawks.
Okay.
Walking cane, a rain hat or a cap.
Okay.
Good shoes.
Yep.
Comfy walking shoes, layers, camera, bus pass, light jacket,
Okay.
snacks, phone charger. Yep. The kids. Yep.
So now everyone, please return to your seat.
I think we're in a good spot.
Okay. So today, we're talking about the roadmap, the governor's roadmap to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And where we are currently, where that started out is the governor passed a law with goal review. We did a disparity study. And does anyone here know what a disparity study is? Okay, so a few of you, all right. That's a lot more than expected. Disparity study kind of takes a look at who's your market, what's going on, how are you spending your money, and what would be the result if you did not have any disparity in your organization, state, municipality. And what we are now is standardizing race and gender neutral measures. So, does everyone in here know what race neutral, race conscious means? Or are people like me, this is my first day and I might need to know where the restrooms are? So, they know what race, gender, or race neutral and race conscious mean. Hands? Okay, a few. These are the people that went through the stair step. And everyone else. Okay, so let's talk about that. Race and gender neutral means that we are utilizing contracts or we're awarding contracts without race or gender specific goals. This means like your small business goal, or maybe even your veteran-owned business goal, but this is not a women, which is gender, or minority, which is race. So those are your race and gender neutral measures. These are all the other, these are a lot of the times, a lot of the alphabet, the other alphabet you see. Our race and gender conscious is our disadvantaged business enterprise program. This is DBE. That means in order to qualify as a disadvantaged business enterprise, you must be racially or socially disadvantaged. This means that though Oprah is a woman and a minority, she is not economically disadvantaged. So there are size standards, and OMWBE, who is in the house, can tell you all about that. But know that essentially what your race and gender neutral measures are the measures that you do, we'll say voluntarily. We don't typically set hard goals or what we call condition of award goals on our contracts when it is race and gender neutral. That means you've got to have a good relationship. And that is what we did this exercise for. This exercise is one that I take a lot of my project managers so that they know that you know more than you think you do. You didn't know where you were going. You didn't know how long you were going for, but you pretty much packed everything you needed. And that's the kind of thing about our agencies. A lot of the times we are the biggest wallets in the room. And I'm going to take a quote from Superman. With great power comes great responsibility. So you're the biggest wallets in the room. Chances are you're not building nothing. We're the DOT. We're taking care of some roads and bridges. Like that's just about it. We're not like going to go out and build something like an amusement. Like that's not happening. So we don't have to be like, oh, I don't know how we're going to contract. I don't know what kind of services we're going to need. If you look at all of these things that you put on your list, I'm going to come over here. Underwear, clothes, for our supplier diversity people in here. These are things that we could potentially be looking at to purchase from small and disadvantaged businesses. Medication, maybe not. It's a little bit more. Childcare for kids. I bet you that's sort of professional service that could go to small businesses and disadvantaged businesses. So what we're going to do is there's some measures that you'll see. We're going to look at the piece of paper that has the wheel on. Or not, well, I should be more specific. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's fun for everyone. So we're going to share. Can we, yes, let's make sure that the people along the exterior get one. We pass those.
I think we're good.
And it's the people behind, I think she can.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't have, yeah.
Thank you. So what we have been tasked with, did you all really enjoy Mr. Powell this morning. I was like, oh my gosh, I loved his analogy with belonging as someone who entertains a lot. You are right. I invite you to my house. You come, you eat, you don't bring nothing, and you don't clean up. Like, I love belonging. Everybody's like, I loved it, loved it, loved it. So we're gonna talk about here, what is it and what things can we do as public agencies to ensure that our small and disadvantaged businesses feel like they are not just invited to the party, but they belong. So I'm so glad that we have a good mix in here of public agency, of consultants. Like, I love this right here. This situation right here is what, like, I literally show up every day for. I am typically, when I'm working and I'm setting goals for a small and disadvantaged business enterprise, I am not buying somebody's second house. I'm not buying a yacht. I am trying to create generational wealth. Like, my parents were like, just my parents, my grandparents, talk about how they went to counters, as they called them, food counters, where they were segregated. There were separate entrances. And like, they were super community advocates around just getting equal access to the counter. What we're doing here today means that we own the counter. We don't need to go to the center. We own the counter. So we don't have to ask permission to sit anywhere. And like, that's what we're doing here. We're building this generational wealth here. So what we're gonna do is we have to get all of the measures, all of these papers down to 4. So we're gonna go through and you're gonna work with your teams and your groups, and we're gonna work through what do we feel like are the 4 most important on this list. I will say there are some that we can probably lump together. So we don't have to really pick, we can just put them all together. So I'm gonna work off your sheet because I didn't pick a sheet for myself. Reduce barriers for contracting. That's huge. I'm glad we have some small businesses in here that can tell us what are some of the barriers that they face when trying to contract with each other. And let's be honest, public agencies, don't we face some barriers? Like, I'm here to show our dirty laundry. Don't we? Like, sometimes when I set a goal on a contract, I get a phone call internally saying like, are you nuts? Like, you know what I mean? There's no way we can make this goal. And I get to have fun there. So, what are some reduced barriers for contracting? Increase grants and contracts awarded to underrepresented businesses. Increase state support to organizations who promote pro-equity, racial justice, access, and belonging. I'm gonna say for this particular measure, and you guys feel free to push back on it, it's great. But how does that drive small business participation? How does that drive race and gender neutral participation? I will say, we want to support organizations who promote pro-equity, racial justice, access, and belonging, but we want to do those organizations like Vicki shared online, and I know there's a few others like Tabor 100 and NAMEC, who all have these contracting support services, technical services that allow small businesses to be successful. Increase our forecasting, identify need in advance. Yes, that is important. Build an education empowerment system to enable more diverse people of color to enter the industry. I think that one is a good one, but we need to clarify, what industry are we talking about? Increase pro-equity, anti-racism training for project managers. I will say that relationships. So I say, yes, I would love that as someone who deals a lot with project managers, both internally and externally. Increase state awarded WMBE contracts. Now, I will say that that's a great initiative, but that W means we're talking about race. I mean, not race, we're talking about gender. And that means that if we're focusing only on increasing WMBE contracts, now know that this will trickle down. Like, we're really asking for you, we're saying standardize our race and gender neutral measure, which means that it's not that we don't want you to utilize them, because we do. We just want you to voluntarily use them. Because the next step on the roadmap to equity means that we go in race and gender conscious, which means that I asked you nicely. Now, the condition of you being awarded a contract. But just because we have teeth, which is our race and gender our conscious program, which puts it as, I call it our program with teeth, it does allow us to set hard goals. We don't want to go around biting people. So we do really want that kind of like voluntary participation. Increase grants and contracts awarded to disadvantaged business enterprises. Note that that is 100% race con. Yeah. So though increasing contracts to these individuals will trickle down, this helps with the voluntary process, that if it is an area of focus, we're going conscious, race conscious, and gender conscious, not neutral. Simplify and provide consistency in reporting. Oh my gosh, you know how much our contractors will love that? Like they have to use this system for this agency and this system for that agency, and they're like, I don't even know how to use your system, and I got so many passwords I can't remember. Like, oh my gosh, that I'm sure like our small and disadvantaged business community would really love that. Increase grants and contracts awarded to community-based organizations. I'm gonna change the word community to contract. And that's essentially what I was saying before. Like we did, of course, want to support our community-based organizations, but we want to support those community-based organizations that are supporting our small and diverse business enterprises, not just kind of throwing a blanket, but being a little more targeted and specific. Increase WMBE mentorship. I'm going to change that W to the whole alphabet. Yes, mentorship matters. Mentorship helps. WashDOT has a fantastic small and diverse business support services, technical assistance program. The minute I hear a small business is having a problem on a contract, I contact that manager right away. And before a contractor comes to me and says, hey, we're having a problem with this contractor, we want to remove it from the contract, well, what'd you do to him? And like, I'm not going to just listen to you. I'm going to call my DBE. I'm going to call my small business and say, hey, what's going on? Our small businesses do make mistakes. That happens. I have my good friend, Mr. John Faison, who says I tried to put myself out of business several times. I appreciate that. He can admit that. But one of the things that mentorship does and those kind of programs do is they really help to drive the success rate. Working for the government is hard. We have people who have jobs just dedicated to document control. It's got a lot of documents. We love our paperwork. We love it. So, increase retention of trade workers. I will say that comes into play, and that is really most helpful when that trade worker works for a small business. I love to hear. I also am a big part of the Interstate Bridge project, and one of our DPE consultants came onto that project with 2 employees. He now has an office in downtown Portland and a staff of 15 because he's increased his capacity just on that project alone. And now he's bidding multiple contracts within the state and out of the state. So I would say retention of trade workers, yes, but let's make sure those trade workers are going to our small and diverse businesses, because you know what happens when trade workers go to work for other small businesses? They get tired of working for that person and go be like, I can start my own business. Like, thank you for increasing the pool of small businesses. And let's be honest, women and minorities hire other women and minorities. Like that's a fact too. Increase small projects for micro and mini MWBEs. I will say again, it's kind of very focused. But so I think that there are, as you go through, you guys are going to work in your tables. As you go through, think about how this can expand beyond just a race conscious or gender conscious measure. And then what we've kind of added by the agencies, increase outreach to underrepresented communities. I say that's great, but let's be, what do they call them? SMART goals. Let's be specific. An increased number of diversity plans submitted with solicitation. Yes, because I read solicitations and the diversity plans. Well, let me tell you, they're fun and interesting. So yes, I will say we need to increase education about how to do a proper diversity plan and really mean it. Yeah. So you guys have some work to do. I would say, if you can, maybe at least start with creating some buckets that these can go into. and come up with four, your top four as teams.
We've got 4.
And we have, oh yes, we've got 4 fresh new pieces of paper. So if you prefer to kind of work like you did with the trip, you can kind of just start throwing stuff at the walls. Okay.
So can you repeat just so I can tell them, what is
Yes.
it? What's the next?
So what we're going to do is we're going to simplify all these bullet points down to 4. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take all the bullet points on the agency, organization, pre-work statistics, and possible measures. These are all the possible measures. And we're going to take them down to 4.
Put them in buckets.
4 buckets.
4 buckets. Okay.
Yes, there we go.
Clustering. We're clustering.
The top 4, we're just
putting
them in 4 groups.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say that's a yes. I feel like I'm not explaining this well. I'm sorry. So you want, yes, I would say if the easiest things would be to kind of create buckets, because some of these are going to be, they're a similar duplicate measure. So yes, you want to get down to 4 measures. If you want to pick a measure specifically just as it is, reduce barriers for contracting. That's one measure that we're all like, yes, we want to do that. Then that's fine. And if it's not in a bucket, it's not in a bucket. We just need to get to 4 measures, whether it be a single measure or a bucket.
But I like the idea of first getting the buckets first. So
Okay.
maybe that should be the first directive is let's just look at the list and create 4 buckets and see if we can get them to 4 buckets.
Okay.
Possibly.
And some of them don't need buckets. We have 30 minutes.
Some of them don't.
Yes.
See what I missed.
So someone asked on the chat, is there room to add federal grants requiring that closely reflect Washington state needs versus just taking on contracts? Can we add anything?
You cannot add, I'm sorry. Because if you add, then we're voting on even more.
Okay.
Because as a whole group, we're gonna come up with our 4 measures we're going to move forward with. Yes.
Are the measures going to be used statewide? Every agency is going to use these measures? Are they just for that we think as people in this area are the most important? They're measures to measure what?
Okay, that's a good question. She said, what are these measures to measure? What are these measures being used to measure? Standardized race and gender neutral measures. That is your link. And yes, this is for state and agencies we're going to, after we break, let me just talk about what we're going to do after we get to our 4 measures. Once we get to our 4 measures and we've decided the 4 that we're going to work on, we're going to dive even deeper and provide our state and public agencies with tips, action items, and plans to implement the 4 measures that we've come up with.
So we mean measures as in steps that we're going to take,
These
not
are
measures as in key performance metrics.
Well, we mean measures as in like what is listed here, this, and then we'll break down the steps next. Yes.
I just have so after lunch, is this same group coming
Yes.
back in here? Okay.
Yes.
That's what I needed to know.
Yes.
The anxiety just went down there.
Yeah.
Okay, I have.
So what I hear you say, what you've been saying is that the 4 categories that you have here, the 30 agencies have responded to, we have to figure out how to put in 4 categories so that these agencies can be measured.
Not necessarily that we're going to measure the agencies by them. We're going to provide them with guidance based on, these are the measures that all the top choices for the different agencies said that they think need to be utilized to standardize race and gender neutral measures. No, this is just a percentage of these are just the response rates.
Okay. Who responded to this?
Who responded to the call? Yes, the different agencies that responded to the call.
It looks
Okay.
like Vicky has a question. Vicky, go ahead.
Thank you. Some of the way that the categories or the measures are being proposed in their wording is troubling to me.
Yes. That's right.
And
you're
yeah,
given the opportunity to word it how you want.
oh, okay, so we can adjust the wording
You
because
can adjust the wording, but we're not going to completely change the measure.
right. It's just,
We can clarify the wording, absolutely.
may I give you an,
After lunch.
yeah, may I give you an,
Once we narrow down this, once we narrow all measures down to the 4, you're then going to write a clear measure and a metric, and then we're gonna start to dive deeper into that. So that's gonna be, you're a step ahead, Vicki.
oh, okay, and I have and the reason I asked the question is some of these measures I put in 2 different buckets, the same measure, because you're measuring
And that's
2 different
exactly
things.
what I said. Some of them
Okay.
will appear, some of these are easy choices because they're duplicates of other measures just said a little differently. And that's the whole bucket situation. If you need to create a bucket, create a bucket. If you don't, just write the measure. All right, everyone, how we got? Any more questions? Sorry, I said that all right a little lefty. I didn't even say, don't ask any more questions. I just want to make sure you guys have time to work. Okay. We've got about 20 minutes. Let's go. You guys ready? Okay, go ahead. Go to a wall. And I'm gonna walk. And I'll be working with you and helping to answer questions.
And because then we can cluster them.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to break into 4 groups like we did for the trip plan.
I spell so poorly that I probably.
Yeah. The actual money that gets from doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. With my board. Yes. That's challenging. Yeah. So, it's right. We're saying we have to. Very right.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't know, I left the room so we could just kind of be our own breakout.
Okay.
And so if anyone wants to talk about those that were, I think, thank you, Ro, for putting those in the chat. If you want to talk about any of them, I know we have about, 15 minutes or so before break. And what we'd like to do is get to 4 measures. It sounds like some of those are a little bit duplicative. So I don't know if there's any that people want to just to kind of chat about and come off mute. Or if there's measures that for sure you'd like it to be part of your top 4, go ahead and use that Padlet link. And on the far left side, just click on the plus sign and you can type them in one at a time. I see, Vicki, I see your hand.
I want to point out a couple things on here that we need to consider. So on increased grants and contracts awarded to underrepresented businesses, that needs to be separated out, separating contracts versus grants. because businesses don't get grants except to support their firm, but it's typically the grants are to provide a service and they go to nonprofits. So we need to separate that out because it doesn't make any sense to me with that. The other thing that we need to consider is OMWBE already does performance measures. So we should not be duplicating in this exercise what OMWBE is already doing.
I agree. So then maybe you don't include that one.
Right. I would say that under the tracking of the use of minority and women business enterprises, or DBE, disadvantaged business enterprises, which is what WSDOT does, should be taken off the list because those are already being tracked. And they do it for WSDOT does it for themselves because they're the folks that get the federal funds for the most part, and then OMWB does it for all the state agencies. So I would take anything that's already being collected because otherwise we're duplicating the same stuff.
I agree.
Or is the intention that we are affirming that those are the right measurements, or are they not the right measurements? And the focus should be modified.
Well, then we add a fifth column because we're already collecting that information. So the state agencies are required to report through OMWBE the utilization of women and minority businesses. So to put it in here is using up an extra measure, a measure that could be doing other things.
Okay.
This is Alice with DOH. So for me, what I struggle with consistently is this race and gender neutral, but we have an agency that their name is specific to both a gender and race. And how do we reinforce or emphasize the fact that there seems to be a higher level of writing all of this RIGHT to really to align it better, because it just feels wonky, for lack of a better word.
They're required to report under statute. So the reporting, yeah. So here's my 2 cents on that. If I may have the time and space. When we talk about race and gender neutral, we're talking about color blindness. We're not really talking about neutrality. When you want to level the playing field and create equity in order for folks to be able to participate, the first thing you got to do is eliminate the disparate treatment, the disparities in the barriers that prevent equity from taking place in the first place. You can't get to diversity and you can't get to inclusion without eliminating the barriers. So when they talk about race and gender neutral, it's a court system work phrase that really is color blindness. And color blindness in and of itself is an example of institutional race and systemic racism, because there is no such thing as color blindness. So if we're talking about race and gender neutral measures, it's not even, it's one is, did you remove your disparate barriers and address those? And then 2, measure the success that you've done that, because your measurement of women and minority firms' participation is to demonstrate that you're making progress towards equity, because right now there is inequity in contracting. So when we talk about this, the fact that we measure participation of women and minority businesses is because we don't have equity right now. And that is just a tracking of whether or not you're being successful. So that's an OMWBE function. I'd leave it there. What my big question to the agencies in the room is, what are you doing to eliminate the barriers that have been in place from the beginning? And then more barriers are continuously being added on top of that. And so we have firms now in our WIMBY community that have shut their doors down because it's too complicated, too hard to deal with government agencies. And it doesn't matter if at what level. It's gotten worse, not better. I should not have a firm that tells me after being in business 10 to 20 years in that range, that they're shutting the doors down because a program that's supposed to help them is putting them out of business. And I see that over and over and over again.
So Vicky, thank you for your thoughts. I appreciate it. I'm wondering if maybe one of the measures that we could suggest would be reduce barriers for contracting.
Yes, and I would rephrase that to be implement the disparity study recommendations to eliminate the barriers.
And that could be how we do it, right?
Yes.
So that could be the metric that we use.
Yes.
But I like that.
Yeah. Because there's lots of things that come up in these disparity studies over and over and over and again, and nothing's changed. It's the
Got it.
same stuff that still continues.
Okay. Thank you. Would anyone else like to jump in, and any other ones that they're like, yeah, we should keep this measurement? Like, I think that's where we're at right now, considering our time. Is there another one, or have you used the Padlet to add ones that you're like, let's go forward with this one?
I'm trying to figure out is the buckets, because once we decide on the buckets, we can start putting everything into them. And I don't know if
I don't know if we need to do the buckets at this point. I wonder if it makes more sense. Kind of what we're doing now is just having a conversation about, okay, it looks like OMWB is already doing that, so we don't need to ask agencies to do it. I kind of feel like we're kind of making our buckets as we speak. We're kind of eliminating some of them, and we're saying, that one should probably stay. So I don't even know if we need to worry about the buckets. I think at this point, what we need to understand is when we look at the list, are there ones that we're like, yes, we need to do that one for sure. That should go on the list. Yeah. Are there any ones when you look at the list that you're just positive that it should stay?
Increase the plans. There should be inclusion plans, and frankly, they should be scored, but there should be inclusion plans with the solicitations, because that sends that sends a message.
Thank you. I'll put that on there. So we've got 2 on there so far, and this doesn't have to be necessarily, I mean, it's kind of hard to get to a consensus with 20 people in 10 minutes. So if there are other ones that you're just like, I want that to be on there, there's a reason why, go ahead and I just put 2 on there. If you look at the Padlet, there are 2 on there right now. Use barriers for contracting and increased number of diversity plans.
The training for project managers, anyone who touches any or has any control over the dollars spent with the contracting and vendors, the training piece, that's absolutely critical.
That's on the list right now?
Yeah, there's increased pro-equity, anti-racism, pairs training for project managers. And I would add that there's a specific module for supplier diversity.
Okay, increased pro-equity, anti-racism, pairs training. That's the one you're thinking about?
Yeah. And the reason I say that is people need to know how or what they need to do differently.
Right. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I want to add one. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Build an education empowerment system to enable more diverse people to enter the industry. I think that's important because I know a lot of folks who are quite, they're aware, but they don't realize the full benefit of being certified and sort of the education, taking advantage of the education. So if we can put that in there, we can garner a lot more people to be qualified.
Faduma, I didn't hear which one you were saying. Could
Oh,
you
it's-
put it in the chat or?
Yeah, it's built in the education system for it. Let me see. It's number 5 on the list. Build an education empowerment system.
I would, since that is an OMWBE responsibility, I wouldn't use that here. What I'm hoping for is the performance, the measurements that we're looking for are not specific to a single agency. And OMWBE has that responsibility. And so I would not put that here since they're already tracking that as well.
Okay, Faduma, what do you think about that comment?
I think that only creates one portal for folks to access education, things like that. And it makes one entity responsible for that education, given that this is a systematic issue. And so if maybe we can rephrase it differently, but I do believe prioritizing a beacon in which folks can transition into the space is necessary. And I'm open to how that looks like.
Thank you.
If we're looking at that as a portal, then I think that would be blended into where the portals are currently located. So currently the portals are currently located at the foot of several nonprofit and quasi-governmental entities like PTAC, Tabor 100, the Washington State Small Business Groups, and a variety of others that currently receive state monies to do exactly what this says here. So are we now really talking about evaluating their success as the performance measure?
You know,
Okay.
that would not be so bad, because given the fact that we're even having this discussion implies that the impact isn't as prevalent as we would like it to be. So maybe evaluating that process would enable us to understand where the issue or the challenge is in breaching this gap.
And then I have a question, follow-up question for that as part of the discussion. And that is, are we talking about workforce? Or are we talking about business creation?
Those are good questions. I did put all of the 5 that I saw in the chat or the ones we talked about on the Padlet. So
okay,
I'm going to go back into the room now. So it's going to get noisy.
Thank you. And Vicky, you know, I see those connected, both business and workforce, because in positioning businesses to be more effective, we're able to create an impact through workforce in their ability to hire more. So the more opportunities they have proximity to, the more bandwidth they can build in capacity.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
I would separate those out because the way you get to one is not necessarily the same.
Was that one?
To the
Okay.
other.
So
Obviously, that's two separate.
my online
Okay,
group, we are
okay.
back in the
Thank
big
you.
room. We're back in the big room. So we're going to include you in the conversation. And
Reduced barrier for contracting, was that one that our online group came up with? Was that one of the 4 measures or buckets that they also came up with?
let's see. Yes, we did. We have that one. Yep.
Give them a round of applause. Okay. One of the measures they came up with was increasing state awarded contracts and spends to small and diverse businesses. Anybody else get that? We got that over there. We got that over here. How about over here on this wall? Yes.
Sub. It's not a main bucket, but it's a sub bucket.
No, it's gonna be a main now.
All right. It's getting elevated.
How about our online people, Lenora?
No, we didn't have that on our list.
Okay. So I will say it's almost universal. Got 4 out of our 5 groups who chose increased state awarded contracts and spend. And I'm gonna say, and that also comes in like the measuring tool. Like that's some of the things that like one of those like having some sort of metric that you can measure, and don't throw an annual review on it. That really makes me upset, doesn't it? Okay. The third one that came up was build educational empowerment system. That's with that's education of our and mentorship. That includes, I'm gonna say that includes not only our small and diverse businesses, but our small and diverse practitioners. So those people who are behind the scenes awarding the contract need the education, empowerment as well in order to execute this work. So how many people are feeling good about that one? Yes?
We have that.
You got that one? Over there? I'm sorry, did you say yes? Yes, okay, okay, go ahead, and did you say?
I just feel like we need to add to that, some kind of a support.
Yes, yes, that's what we're saying.
In there.
I'm sorry.
But it's to support those who've already got contracts or who've already.
Yes, yes. So we'll say like they have mentorship, but you mean like support services, technical assistance, or those
Actually support them dealing with the agencies or support them in dealing with their clients.
Yes, yes, okay, I think we're,
That's
yes,
a lot of it falls.
okay.
It's that team. So we're
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Yeah.
Support services.
Yeah, because the relationship falls apart.
Yes.
Recourse.
You almost need like a project
Yes.
manager just to go.
Hopefully, I'm your hopefully I'm your resource and your recourse when things fall apart on the project. If you're a small business on my project, hopefully that's what's happening.
1201.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow, okay, well, we got 3.
So we,
Well,
great.
we have one more.
Question.
Yes,
Using business and contracting and same
yes,
terminology.
yes, yes. When I say business, I mean small or diverse business. And the support in them being awarded or maintaining contracts that they have been.
So the word contractor as a general contractor or a subcontractor.
In whichever role that you're going to occupy, because our small and diverse businesses do both. They operate as primes and sub. Yeah. Okay, yes.
When we say increase, I put one more drop of water in the top here, that's the increase. So are these increases proportional or relative to some other?
We'll dive deep into, we're just creating buckets. We're not filling buckets yet, we're just creating buckets. Okay, so I want to get you guys out of here. Number 4, does anyone have another group come up with, we have care training for project
Yes,
and
we have that.
contract
We have
managers.
that.
Okay,
Is that part of
but
education?
that's part of 3.
Yeah,
I think that was 4. Before that was totally different, go for it.
Increased grants and contracts awarded to community-based organizations that support contracts.
Hey, I think that goes into building education and empowerment, because they are the ones who are going to do the trick.
Because there's an idea, I mean, potentially, but I think having an intentional, 4th element, we actually created those 4 buckets.
What was your 4th bucket?
So we talked about, I don't know what to say.
The money getting out to the folks, so actual contracts, the process, that we have business contracts, the diversity and capacity that we're building, and then education and outreach. And we felt like that one hit 3 of the buckets.
Yeah.
So it needs to be separately.
It's capacity building, it's education and outreach, but there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Especially with number 3 and 4.
But what I would say that I heard in there that I did not really see overlap is the, well, no, we kind of did it for reducing barriers per contract, but maybe we do have 3, because all of these other things, okay, go to.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we put that. Yeah. I've already talked about it.
All right, we'll see you back after lunch, everybody. Thank you.
Did you feel good about it? Yeah, I think like we're the idea is. Yeah.
Sitting right next to you.